What's up, you guys? I hope you're living your best life. Today, we're going to talk about a very exciting topic, and that is the memory of water. But first, let's go ahead and hit it. Hey guys, my name is Zoe Pons. I live between France, the US, and India. I love philosophy, meditation, and yoga. So on this channel, you're gonna find tips on how to lead a better, happier, and more joyful life. So if you're interested, go on and hit that subscribe button. I am so excited that you're here. Let's get started on this amazing journey together. So in India, and more specifically in religious communities, our attention is brought to the way we treat and interact with water. And I noticed this in my first trips to India. I saw in Tamil Nadu that people would put flowers in it. And I noticed that, water was always kept in copper, steel, timber vessels, sometimes in glass, but never in plastic. At least at home, like when you don't have to drink it from a plastic bottle outside, I noticed that people were careful with water and they didn't drink it straight out of the tap. But I never really paid attention to it more than that. I thought maybe it was just religious or, something linked to practices. I wasn't sure. I thought maybe it's superstition. But I started thinking about it, and then I did some research, and I realized that actually it was deeper than that, and all this stuff is actually scientifically rooted. So one first obvious fact is that we are 72% made of water. That's a big figure. So obviously we want to make sure that we're not drinking plastic particles, and we want to be careful what we drink. That was a first element to think about. But I want to go one step further and tell you about 3 researches that make the argument according to which water has memory. So the first guy who ever made this argument is French. His name is Benveniste. And what he did is that he started to get interested in homeopathy. Homeopathy is an alternate way of curing people, and the guys who practice it believe that the more you dilute medicine, the more efficient it is to cure people. So this guy used this dilution technique on an antibody. So basically he took his antibody sample, put it in distilled water, and he diluted it once, then twice, then 3 times. Then, a bunch more cycles later, maybe 1 billion cycles later, he transferred his diluted antibody into a blood sample. And his expectation was that, it's been diluted so much that how can there still be a trace of the antibody? I won't get any reaction from the interaction between the antibody and the blood. The blood won't react because, there won't be anything left. But surprisingly and crazily enough, the reaction was the same than it would have been if there had not been this dilution. Hence the argument of water memory. Now, this created a lot of ruckus in the medical industry. No one believed this guy. He wanted to be published in Nature, which is the #1 journal in health, and it's headquartered in the UK. But yeah, it was super controversial. Anyhow, I thought it was really brave of this guy to make this argument. This was in the late 80s. Then comes this other guy, second experiment, this other guy's name is Emoto, a Japanese dude. And what he did is also really cool and one step crazier. So basically, he took 2 water samples. His first water sample was taken to a love room with people who were very peaceful and kind. Some super calm music was playing. And in the second room, there was hard rock blasting, hard metal, people saying really violent stuff to the water, you know, things like, "You disgust me, I hate you." Okay, then after that, our Emoto guy takes the 2 water samples, freezes them, and compares the water crystals in both batches of water. Now, in the love room, the water crystals are looking super harmonious, beautiful, well-arranged, and in the hate room, it's just chaotic, and the water crystals are not arranged properly. Isn't that crazy and interesting? Now, the last guy is a Swiss guy. His name is Luc Montagnier. And what he did is he used water in DNA teleportation. So he started his experiment in France, in a French lab, and he put a DNA sample from an HIV-infected patient into some distilled water. And what he did is that he shook the distilled water in a certain way that electromagnetic sounds were recorded in a WAV file. So he kept that WAV file, emailed it to another lab in Italy, and in that Italian lab, they used the WAV file and they passed it on to a new batch of distilled water. Then they put that distilled water in a polymeter machine, and this whole thing was processed. Then they took out this distilled water and they found the same, not exactly, but 90% of that DNA that had been removed from the French lab. They were able to reconstitute it in the Italian lab. When I heard this, I was like, wow, that is cool. That is just cool. And ever since, I gotta say, I have a bit more deference for the water I drink. I know this is gonna sound really crazy, but after all, I mean, you know, like, we wouldn't even be here if it weren't for water. That's probably the origin of life. So hence why we should, you know, care about it. And yeah, like, now I don't ever really just, you know, grab my water and drink it. I look at it and I just appreciate it. And I don't know, I think it's just another reason to be happy and appreciative of life, you know. Well, you guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If so, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. I will see you in the next one. Ciao for now.